Hey, chidoring. Yeah, everything looks good. Let go. Oh yeah, we were back here with the soothing soothing music. There we go. Lightning fast. I hate this. Buonasera, Bea. How's it going? Okay.
Urio. Maria, 返事して。Urio.
Ooh, okay. Sure, Bea.
やっぱり僕は
Best
ぬい
chapter,
ぐる
eh?
みなの？布と綿でできてるから喋れるわけないの？だからマリアとはおしゃべりできないの？
Saktaro looked up at Maria sadly. Maria's face was covered with tears, and she looked as though she had even lost the emotion of sadness.
聞こえてるよ、サクタロウ。サクタロウは布と綿でできたぬいぐるみなんかじゃないよ。マリアのお友達だよ。
He can be both, though. That's okay.
返事なんか嫌い。
Hey, Iris Moth, how are you? Oh, tissues. Okay. I don't know if I have any around. Not really.
ウリュ、マリアごめんね。マリアごめんね。ウリュ。
Saktaro felt regret. By freezing her heart, Maria had finally been able to escape from her sadness. By speaking up and calling her back, he had caused her to become overwhelmed with sadness again. Sakutaro tried toddling up to Maria and hugging her, then letting go. Gazing at her appearance uneasily and trying it again, lost as to how he could bring Maria's spirits up. He might have looked a little humorous doing that. As a result, that was able to divert Maria's feelings from sadness.
ごめんね。もう泣いても仕方ないもんね。エンジェとは喧嘩しちゃったけど、マリアにはまだたくさん友達がいるよ。僕だけじゃない。みんなもいるよ。サクスケもサク吉も動物の音楽隊も他にも。
I'm sensing a naming pattern. Maria looked at the many stuffed animals around her pillow, which were gathered together as though they were having a conference. Mine are too! Not on the pillow, but next on my nightstand. I have my bird squad there, and my other plushies.
みんな、マリアのこと心配してるよ。
Hey, Fuperman. How's it going? Oh, happy to have you. Let's see. Everyone is hyped about this thing for some reason.
どうしたらマリアが元気になってくれるかなってずっと相談しているよ。みんなはエンジェみたいにいなくならない？ならないよ。僕たちはいつだって一緒だよ。本当に？サクタロたちは家でしか一緒じゃないよ。ママと一緒にお出かけできないし、学校にも一緒に行けないよ。僕たちは学校に行っちゃいけないから。先生に見つかったら怒られちゃうもん。でも、見つからないならいつだって一緒にいていいんだよ。サク太郎、大きいから見つかっちゃうね。だったら、小さくて持ち歩ける子と一緒に行けばいいよ。例えば、ほら。森の音楽隊の仲間たちなら、ほら、小さいからマリアのポケットに隠れて一緒に学校に行けるよ。音楽隊いっぱいいるよ。ポケットに入りきらないよ。
She gathered all of the forest band pieces that were scattered across her bed. There were about as many of them as pieces in the chess set, so it would probably be impossible to fit them all in her pocket.
なら、特に仲良しのお友達だけを連れて行くといいよ。森の音楽隊の中で一番マリアと仲良しのウサギの4人組を連れてくといいよ。4つならポケットに入る。 これなら見つからないね。だから、マリアはこれで学校でも一人ぼっちじゃないよ。僕が一緒に行けないところでも、この子たちなら一緒にいてくれるよ。なら、寂しくないかも。お家に帰ってくるまで我慢できるかも。ママと先生にさえ見つからなければ、僕たちはいつだって一緒にいられるんだよ。そして、いつまでも一緒にいよう。遊んでいよう。僕たちはマリアを絶対に一人ぼっちになんかさせないから。うりゃ！
Maria's expression finally regained a little of its brightness. That's right. Thinking about it, my world didn't start out with Enje in it. Even without Enje, everyone was together, and it was fun. So it's weird to suddenly get sad just because Enje's gone when she was the last to come in. All that's happened is that I returned to the world right before Enje entered it. So there's nothing to be sad about. Oh, I feel so many things about these statements.
寂しくないよ。サクタロもみんなも一緒だもん。うりゅう！マリア、大好き！もう人間なんかに、マリアの世界には誰も立ち入らせないよ。マリアージュ・ソルシエールは、マリアとベアトリーチェだけの二人きりの同盟。もともとベアトもエンジェを加えるのには反対してたし、これでいいんだもんね。エンジェはまだ幼すぎたんだよ。エンジェのことは、また仲良しになれるまで当分を忘れていていいと思うよ。マリアがまた元気を取り戻せたら一緒に遊べばいいよ。それまで僕たちみんながずっとそばにいるからね。ありがとう。サクタロ、みんな。
I feel like things are so entangled in there, in so many ways. First of all, what am I even supposed to think of this Maria? Like, what is she? Because she's not the Maria from the past, the one who died on the island, because otherwise how could she possibly know an Enje from the future, right? So in a way, I perceived her as more of a projection of Enje's mind. But then it also reflects backwards on real things, like her, projecting her, inner world onto her plushies and trying to find the happiness in there together with them, and fighting the loneliness and the sadness of her relationship with her mom. So that is real, but the Enje part is not really that real, but she's still hurt about it there, and there's kind of like this. Okay. She knows little Enje. Right. I have a mistake in the timeline. Okay, I mean, okay, fine. Maybe I shouldn't be saying anything then. It's fine. I'll move on. Okay. Right. So I guess this is Enje, or who is this? Then I once again regained my former world. I regained the world where I wasn't lonely and where I was surrounded by many friends. As always, I didn't have any human friends at school, but my magic friends were always with me. Even during class, I could hear the rabbit band hiding in my pocket, talking to— oh no, it's still Maria, the rabbit band, okay. Talking together and giggling, and they sounded like they were having a lot of fun. Just listening to that added a lot of color to those lonely school hours. No, it's okay, forget about it. I was probably saying something stupid anyway. I made sure that my other friends too were always with me, as long as Mama and the teacher wouldn't find out. When Mama told me to go play outside, I would secretly pack Saktaro and Saksuke and the rest into my bag and play together at the library or somewhere. I resonate with this a little bit because I also used to take some tiny toys from home to the kindergarten. especially in the early days when I had to go there and I was new, and yeah. It's kind of like, you know, a comfort thing, a comfort toy. I get it. I totally get it. And when Mama was late coming home and I went shopping for dinner, I always went with them. The men working at the convenience store were always nice to Sakutaro. Sometimes they even gave me 2 extra things for free, one for me and one for Sakutaro. Oh, that's so sweet. Whenever Mama found out, I would get in trouble for bringing Sakutaro and the rest outside. Whenever the teacher found out, I would get in trouble for bringing toys to school. The toxin must be strong in Mama and the teacher. That's why Sakutaro and the others just look like normal stuffed animals to them. After all, the men at the convenience store say hello to Sakutaro. Not all humans are worthless. There are a ton of people who, unlike NJ and Mama and my teacher, can say hello to magic friends like I can.
マリアちゃんかい。いらっしゃい。今夜もママは帰りが遅いのかい？
でも、サクタロたちも一緒だから寂しくないの。ねえ、サクタロ。
Ready for more emotions? Oh, alright.
うりゅう。
I guess we're going on the feelings train tonight.
今日はね、僕だけじゃないんだよ。他のお友達も一緒なんだよ。
おや、他のお友達かい。今日はどんなお友達が一緒なんだい？
今日はね、森の音楽隊のウサギさんたちも一緒。ほら、ポケットに入ってるの。
Maria began to line up 4 ceramic rabbit dolls on the register. As the owner of the shop looked at them with a smile, he signaled a part-timer with his chin. The sign on the other register that said closed was taken down, and the part-timer called out for everyone to move over there. All of the people in line behind Maria formed a new line over there instead. Ah, we're already on board and tonight we're crashing it. Okay. Ay.
そうかそうか。マリアちゃんにはお友達がいっぱいだね。ママも早く帰ってきてくれればいいのに。
ママはまたお仕事が忙しくて会社にお泊まりなの。最近はよく忙しくなるの。マリアと電話でお話しする時間も全然取れない。でも寂しくないよ。マリアにはサクタロたちがいるもん。ねえ。うりゅう。ウサギの音楽隊のみんなも一緒だもん。ほら。キューキュー。
ウサギの鳴き声ってキューキューだったっけ？はて、そういや聞いたことないな。
After smiling at Sakutaro, who was poking his head out of her knapsack, she played around with the rabbit band on the register, making them frolic around. Even as he gazed at this heartwarming sight, the shop manager had a slightly pitying look on his face. Yeah, I mean, I get it. This was apparently a family without a father, and where the mother had to work hard and couldn't come home very often. On top of that, it looked like this girl didn't even have any friends. As he watched this girl play around happily with her dolls and claimed that she wasn't lonely despite everything, he couldn't help but feel a kind of compassion. And actually, this wasn't limited to him alone. Maria had become very famous in this shopping district.
マリアちゃん、たまにはおでんも食べなさい。卵とか練り物とか食べないと大きくなれないよ。
おお、クリームパンじゃダメ？うりゅう、いろいろ食べないと大きくなれないよ。今日はおでんにしよう。じゃあおでんにする。
そうしなさい。おじさんが多めに入れておくよ。からしいる？うりゅう、辛いのは苦手。そうかそうか。じゃあこぼさないように持って帰りな。温かいうちが美味しいよ。
She had planned on getting some sweet pastries for dinner like usual, but since Oden had been recommended to her, she would be having that tonight instead. Letting someone else determine the menu makes for an unexpected and interesting meal. Very often, Maria had to decide on her own what to have for dinner, so it was easy for the menu to get a little one-sided. So it felt fun to look forward to a meal she hadn't anticipated.
ウリュウおじさん、おまけしてくれてありがとう。
お家にいる他のお友達にもよろしくね。途中でつまみ食いしちゃダメだよ。まっすぐお家へ帰ってから食べるんだよ。
おじさん、ありがとう。
Maria held the bag with the oden container high for all to see.
あれ、ウリュどうしたのマリア。ポケットに鍵がない。
Oh no. Standing in front of the door to her house, Maria searched and patted all over her body. The key to the house wasn't there. She always methodically put it in the same pocket. So there was no way she had put it in another pocket, but she searched her whole body just in case. It really wasn't there.
お財布を出した時に落とした？お財布を出してしまう時にはちゃんと手応えがあったもん。途中でポケットを探った時にもちゃんと手応えがあった。途中まではあったの。落としてなんかいない。
The late autumn wind had been made bearable by the thought of the heater that was waiting at home. But now that Maria had lost her key and had no idea what to do, she was really feeling it. But no matter how hard she searched, she couldn't find her key. She turned out all her pockets and even tried taking off her jacket and hitting it, but to no avail. Of course, she also turned the knapsack Sakutaro was in upside down, but no key came out. Something that should have been there wasn't where it was supposed to be. Why isn't the key there when I didn't do anything wrong? Why isn't it? Why? Maria stamped on the ground, cold and frustrated and angry. Another locked room? Oh. Oh no. I hadn't thought about it that way. The bottom of her foot throbbed, but even so, it didn't lessen her frustration. Wait a minute. Okay, there we go. Before long, bitter tears were pouring down her face. It wasn't her fault. So it was someone else's. But Maria didn't know who that someone was and could do nothing but continue to let out a moan of anger.
ウリュウ、きっと途中で落としたんだよ。探そう。来た道を戻って探そう。せっかくおでん買ったのに、卵とかおまけしてもらったのに、あったかいうちに食べられない。マリア、悔しいけど探そう。誰も悪くないよ。探そう。
Maria finally lent an ear to Sakutaro's words and began to plod back the way she came. The wind was colder than it had been and felt like it was blowing in through the gaps in her jacket despite her. I hate that sensation so much. I once lost the key and spent all day outside my house waiting for a locksmith because it was a holiday and everyone was out. Yeah, I have had my own scares with losing the key. I totally feel you. Since the last one, I wear a... oh, damn. I forget what it's called. Like one of those things that you can put around your neck to have like... a badge or whatever, carrying it around. I use that instead for my keys, and then I tie it around my bag, or if I put it in my pocket, I also tie it around one of the loops from my jeans and so on, so that even if it accidentally slips out of the pocket or out of the bag, it's actually still tied to something and it's not gonna fall on the ground. Because, yeah, I am a scatterbrain, and if there's too many things happening or my mind is split into too many directions, it's very likely that I can misplace even the most important things. And so, yeah, I feel it too in my bones.
ウリュウ、しっかり足元を見て探そう。そして早くお家に帰って暖房で温まりながらおでんを食べよう。きっと美味しいよ。ない。ない。
As Sakutaro encouraged her, Maria searched for the key. But she made it all the way back to the convenience store where she'd bought the oden. She hadn't found it. Just in case, she asked the man at the convenience store whether they had found the dropped key, but they hadn't found anything. One more time she returned home, paying close attention to the area around her feet. But still, she didn't find it. She was no longer frustrated enough to stomp her feet, but hot tears dripped down her face. The oden was stone cold. Even though the man at the shop had said to eat it while it was hot, she hadn't been able to. He had given her so much extra stuff for
ウリ
free.
ュウ、泣かないで。ママは今夜帰ってこないんだよ。頑張って探そう。なんで見つからないの？マリア、泣かないで。頑張って探そう。マリア。
Maria was no longer able to hold back her tears. Sobbing, clutching Sakutaro, and with the oden bag in her hand, she returned once more down the road she had come by. Perhaps because it was now later at night and more houses and stores had turned their lights off by now, it was even darker and harder to search than before. And once again, without finding the key, she returned to the convenience store.
マリアちゃん、鍵まだ見つからないのかい？
鍵ない。
お母さん、今日は泊まりだっけ？鍵ないとお家入れないの？
入れない。
そりゃ困ったね。交番には行ってみた？届いてるかもしれないよ。
ママがおまわりさんに話しかけられてもお話ししちゃダメって言った。
そりゃまたどうして？
It was probably because Rosa felt guilty for making such a young girl as Maria watch over the house by herself, and because she knew that this was not socially acceptable. So she had indoctrinated Maria into changing the stores she bought things at so that she didn't catch the eye of adults, and saying no more than a greeting to policemen even if they talked to her. Maria had obediently done as she was told, instead of considering why she had to do that. Honestly obeying because her mother had told her so was far more important to her. But the manager of the convenience store probably didn't think of it that way. Naturally, seeing such a young girl being forced to watch over the house alone, and so frequently, would cause anyone to worry. And then, after making the round trip between her home and the store once more and arriving at the convenience store for a third time, a policeman was there.
あの子です。マリアちゃん、鍵見つかったかい？見
つからない。
お嬢ちゃん、お名前は？
The policeman asked her name, but Maria didn't answer.
お母さんにおまわりさんとお話ししちゃいけないって言われてるの？大丈夫だよ。おじさんは怖くないよ。お嬢ちゃんは晩ご飯は食べた？
買ったけど、お家に入れないから食べられない。
Hey, Tostators, it seems that we're about to put the cry in when they cry. Seems so.
お母さんはどうしてるの？今日は帰ってこないの？お仕事？お母さんの会社の連絡先、わかるかな？
Maria hung her head limply. She didn't understand why the policeman was getting mad at her. He is not getting mad? What? No, he probably wasn't getting mad at her, but if this reached her mother's ears, she would definitely be in trouble. Even if she didn't understand the reason why she would be in trouble, she at least understood that much. But the policeman wouldn't let Maria go, as her head was swimming from hunger. The policeman noticed that, and it was decided that they could talk as they ate in the police box. I was taken to the police box. I had my oden heated in the microwave oven, and there were even salty rice cakes and hot tea brought out for me. I'd been told not to talk to policemen, but as I answered questions about Sakutaro, I started to feel like he wasn't a bad person, and I wouldn't be able to return home anyway, so I didn't know what to do, so I told him Mama's work phone number, which I wasn't supposed to tell anyone. I was told to use only in a very, very serious situation. Well, this is a very, very serious situation, by all stretches of the imagination. In the tatami room inside the police box, as I ate the oden that was so hot it felt like it would burn me, I watched the policeman making the phone call and lazily thought, I'm probably going to get in trouble.
Maria, Mama ni okorareru kana? Uryu.
She has no grounds to get upset, but she probably will, I guess. He must have been listening to the phone ringing for a very long time. With the receiver up to his ear, the policeman looked up at the clock and
営業時間終えちゃってるから出ないのかな。もしもし。もしもし。有限会社アンチローザさんで。こちら、小松川警察署千本桜駅前交番でございます。う大館じゃないや。後宮社長さんはいらっしゃいますか？
Udaikan, is that like a reading thing? I wanna know. It's a misreading of the Ushiromiya kanji. The officer mistook the last kanji miya for kan. This would also have caused him to pick the wrong reading for the character in the middle, due to the existence of the word daikan, magistrate. Okay, that makes sense. Very nice. Or like, nice Japanese lesson. Amidst all of the other things that are happening, which are not nice.
はい。休暇中？
はい、社長は昨日から3日間休暇になってます。どういったご用件で？
いや。それで、どちらにおられるかわかりますかね？連絡先とか聞いてたりしませんかね？
ちょっとお待ちいただいてよろしいですか？ねえ、誰か社長の旅行先聞いてる？連絡先。
彼氏と札幌カニ食い放題って聞きました。いいなぁ。寒いとこだと自然と2人の距離も縮まるのよね。連絡先は聞いてないよ。
了解。もしもし？札幌に行ってるそうですけど、連絡先まではちょっとわかりません。ご伝言しますか？
そうですか。参ったな。じゃあ、もし連絡がつきましたら、こちらから電話があったとお伝えできますか？はい。
After that, I was taken to the police station, which was bigger than the police box, and they said I could spend the night there. And they asked me all kinds of things about myself. A lady who called herself the district welfare officer came by and asked about various things. And she said to me, "You poor thing." When I heard that, I learned for the first time.
マリアってかわいそうだったの？ウリュウ、そんなことないよ。マリアは幸せ。ほー。
And Rosa came back. Maria was told to go to her room, but on her way back from the bathroom, she hid by the entrance to the living room and listened in on the exchange. The person who had come to visit was the female district welfare officer who had asked Maria various questions the other day.
そういう押し付けは困ります。マリアは心が純粋すぎて繊細だから、無神経な子がいたら傷つけられてしまうんです。余計なおせっかいはやめてください。
でもね、お母さん、そんなに繊細な子ならなんで一人で家に放置しておくの？お母さんが一緒にいてあげるべきなんじゃないですか？
なるべく一緒にいるようにしています。そんなことあなたに指図される覚えはありません。
そうですか。この辺のご近所ではとても有名ですよ。お宅のお嬢さんが夜頻繁に買い物や食事に来るって、みんな気にしてて気を使ってくれてたんですよ。
どうしてうちの子だとわかるんですか？子供なんて街中にいくらでもいるじゃないですか。勝手にうちのマリアだと決めつけないでください。夜に出歩く子供だってたまにはいるでしょう。それらが全てうちの子だという証拠でもあるんですか？
ライオンのぬいぐるみを抱いた女の子がよく夕食を食べに来る、買いに来るって商店街でもとても有名だったんですよ。みんなマリアちゃんのことを思って大切にしてくれてました。時には夜道は危ないからと自宅まで送ってくれる方もいたんですよ。
ライオンのぬいぐるみなんてどこにでもあります。自宅まで送るなんて余計なお世話です。マリアを誘拐するつもり？マリアに構わないで。マリアは私の子です。私が育ててます。おかしな施設に入れるつもりもまるでありません。余計なおせっかいはやめて。
ウリュウ、ライオンのぬいぐるみって僕のこと？大丈夫だよ。怒られるのはマリアだよ。サク太郎は関係ないよ。
Maria hugged Sakutaro, continuing to watch her mother fearfully.
私もマリアと毎日一緒にいられたらと思います。でもシングルマザーですから働かなくちゃならない。私はこう見えても会社の社長ですから社員の生活も背負っている。一年中仕事で忙しいんですよ。休む暇だってないんです。
That absolutely falls apart when you're off on vacation, Rosa. I mean, really.
そう？でもこの3日間お休みだったんでしょ？
休みなんかじゃありません。私はずっと会社で泊まりがけで仕事をしていました。他の頼りない社員では片付けられない案件が私には山積みなんです。
どうしてそんな嘘つくの？あなたの会社の人が3日間お休みを取ってますって言ってるのよ。彼氏さんと北海道に行ってきたんでしょ？娘さんを3日間も置いて。
彼氏なんて知りません。北海道なんて知りません。どうしてそんなデタラメ言うの？どうしてなんか証拠でもあるの？何よあんた、勝手に人の家のことに口を出さないでよ。私はマリアを愛してるのよ。私には私なりの愛し方があるのよ。勝手に口出さないでよ。私は旅行になんて行ってないわよ。仕事してたのよ、ずっと。マリアに1秒でも早く会いたくて、仕事を少しでも早く片付けようと一生懸命会社に泊まり込んでずっと知らない。北海道なんて知らないわよ。勝手なこと言わないで。もう帰ってよ。何なのよあんたは。帰って。
Rosa raged, her hair flying wildly. She stood up with such force that her teacup fell over. And far louder than that noise was the sound of her beating the table with both hands. Rikishi flexing his social worker background in the scene. Yeah, I was thinking about that actually, since you mentioned it in the past. It's like, it's probably like taken out of reality or pieces of reality put together, and yeah. When faced with this rage that could accurately be described as wide-eyed derangement, The female welfare officer couldn't help but be taken aback. And the same went for Maria, who was secretly watching this from the hallway. She had seen her mother enraged several times before, but she had never seen her go this berserk with anger. Seeing this, Maria was sure this was no longer her mother. It was some other evil being that was possessing her mother's body. And then the evil being discovered her. Maria learned that she was being reflected in the evil being's eyes. Her mind went blank and she felt as though her field of vision was racing off into the distance. After fiercely closing in on Maria, Rosa mercilessly bore down on her small shoulders and dropped her gaze onto the stuffed animal Maria was holding, Sakutaro.
マリア、あなた、あれだけお外にそれを持って行っちゃダメって言ったのに、持って行ったのね。
ウリュウ。
I'm biting my tongue.
マリアは悪くないよ。僕がついていくって言ったの。違うよ。マリアが寂しいから勝手にサクタロを連れてったの。だからママ、サクタロは悪くないの。ウリュウ、マリア。サクタロは悪くないよ。サクタロは悪くないよ。
The brunt of Rosa's anger was aimed not at Maria, but at the lion-stuffed animal Maria was holding. You gave him to her! Okay, I'm biting my tongue. It's fine. A girl came shopping in the middle of the night always clutching a lion-stuffed animal. Because of that, she had become well known in the shopping district.
ぬいぐるみ持ってっちゃダメって言ったでしょ。どうしてあんたはママの言うことが聞けないのよ。どうしてよ。どうしてママの言いつけがちゃんと守れないのよ、あんたは。
With every single word, she stamped her heel and banged furiously on the wall. Admittedly, she wasn't making the right contact with Maria. However, the violence of that harsh sound certainly beat against her.
お母さん。
I was about to ask, like, is this in this context the social worker still here? Apparently, she still is.
話してよ。話せって言ってんでしょ。
The welfare officer had come back to her senses and put Rosa in a full Nelson. Okay. But the instant Rosa was touched, she went wild, furiously throwing the welfare officer off. Hey Zeku. Sorry, I started late too. So, here we are. She hit the table and fell to the ground. A teacup on the table smashed on the floor, making a violent sound.
マリアは悪くないよ。僕が悪いの。だからマリアを叱らないで。
You will be the seagull and you'll cry. We'll all be seagulls.
サクタロを連れてったのはマリア。サクタロは悪くないの。サクタロは悪くないの。だからサクタロをそんな怖い目で見ないで。
I mean, just how pure of Maria to be worried about Sakutaro being blamed in these moments and taking the blame onto herself. Okay. Oof.
見ないで。マリアを叱らないで。マリアを叱らないで。
The fact that even in this situation Maria is acting with Sakutaro shows how deep of a connection it is. Yeah, of course. Of course. It's... Dare I even say that there's a part of it, maybe even subconscious, that Maria doesn't realize, but she's holding onto him like for dear life because he's kind of like a token of her real mom's love. Yeah. But Sakutaro exists. Of course he exists. I wasn't necessarily doubting his existence, but of course it depends what you mean by exists. If you mean that he exists as an independent, living being with, you know, his own independent humanoid body, I don't believe he exists in that way. But I do believe that his existence is very real to Maria in the sense of like his significance and her attachment to him. I'm not denying him. I remember back when I was a kid, things are always intensified way more than as an adult. Being happy, being sad, being angry as a kid are intensified by poor Maria. Yeah, I see what you mean.
あんた、さっきから何をやってるの？あんた、そのお人形さんごっこ、外でもやってたの？お店の人の前でもやってたの？
There's a word for it in regards to children creating new concepts for themselves. Paracosm. Oh, okay, I did not know that. I mean, it makes sense. I did it too. I totally empathize with Maria on this front.
だから覚えられちゃうんでしょ？少しは考えろこのバカ！なんであんたはそう大バカなのよ！
I would reflect all of those words at you yourself, dear sweet Rosa.
正直におっしゃいな。お外でお買い物をするとき、ママに内緒でいつもそのぬいぐるみを持ち歩いてたのね。
Of course she was, because you weren't there. So of course she was carrying around the most precious thing that is infused with your presence, because that's all she had. Okay, I'm shutting up.
その変なぬいぐるみ語をやめなさい。ぬいぐるみじゃなく、あなたの言葉で喋りなさい。
サク太郎はぬいぐるみじゃないよ。マリアの友達だよ。ぬいぐるみって言わないで。言わないで。
はいはい、わかったわ。サク太郎だったわね、名前。
I don't think even Beato could.
ママに内緒でそのサク太郎人形を持っていつもお買い物に行っていたのね。
Maria admitted it honestly. If she hadn't admitted it, then Sakutaro would have said something to take the blame. So by admitting it right away, she was protecting her small friend.
サク太郎だけ？他には？まさか学校にも何か変なのを持って行ってるんじゃないでしょうね。
お母さん、お嬢さんは悪くないでしょう。そのキスもおやめなさい。
あんたは黙ってなさい。私と娘の話でしょ。ほらマリア、ママの目を見て話をしなさい。ママの質問にお返事は？
You guys like this chapter because it's gonna turn around, right? Like, it's not just darkness and misery and pain and tears, right? Because I'm... I wonder if Rikishi was present at a scene like that. I'm pretty sure it's quite inspired. Probably not word for word, of course, but pretty sure it reflects a bunch of fragments of realities that he has experienced. The funniest scene is in this chapter. Okay, By the way, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that it's gonna turn around in terms of Maria and Rosa, because I think this is unsalvageable at this point. Just generally speaking, something at least a little bit hopeful it's gonna happen, right? Because, oh my god, I'm dying here.
ウサギのみんなも一緒。
今も持ってるの？
おう。
Maria fished around in her pocket and pulled out those 4 ceramic rabbits with her tiny hand. Oh no, she's not gonna like... She's not gonna throw them and break them, is she? The rabbits were her precious friends who could go to school with her in Sakutaro's place. When Rosa saw that, she shook her head slightly, as though dizzy. In Maria's communication booklet, a note had been written that Maria was apparently bringing toys to school and playing with them, and it requested Rosa to give her home instructions to try to prevent this. But Rosa had dismissed the teacher's comment as fault-finding, and on the contrary had phoned the school to make a complaint of her own, saying that there was no way her child would bring toys to school. For nearly an hour, she had shouted at the vice principal to stop making false accusations about her daughter. Okay. I don't know what to do for you. I have to read through it. To a certain degree, the school grasped that Maria was a pitiful girl. They knew that the small toys she brought in were her only friends, so they had done their best to overlook it. But when the other students caught sight of them, some of the boys started complaining that only she was allowed to bring toys, and the school had racked their brains on how to cope with this. I mean, also, guys, do you realize how it is for me that we start stream and you're like, oh my god, I'm excited, everything's gonna be great, we love this chapter, and then we get into the middle of just pain and misery, and you're all like, oh no, 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 not this. I'm like, what am I supposed to feel? Like, give me a break. Okay. So I'm just, like I said, I'm gonna take it as a sign that maybe something at least a little bit hopeful happens. Also tonight, so that I don't go to sleep with this in my heart. Everything's going to be great! I can relate so much though, this I knew everything when I read it. It's a strange feeling. Yeah, okay, at least you can empathize a little bit with me here, because you've all been through this rodeo, and not just once. Some of you have done it dozens of times. You're so familiar with the material and what's going to happen that I kind of feel a little bit, you know, out of my depth sometimes. When they cry fans are masochists, I guess. The vicious cycle of Umineko reading. Wake up, this is gonna be the one. Cry. You will love this scene, since this scene is just pain and sad. I still maintain my hope that on the back of all of the pain and sadness, there's gonna be good stuff coming around the corner. For both Maria, hopefully, and for Engine. That's where I have my most... My stash of hope is really sky high there. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so okay, she was only one allowed to bring toys. School had racked their brains on how to cope with this. They had tried to gently send a warning by way of the mother, but after Rosa's overreaction, even Maria's teacher had decided to overlook it. But now Rosa knew. She had been the one who was wrong, and her daughter really had been bringing toys into school. And school, god, I can drink my water, had seen the sorry sight of her bringing toys into school and playing with them as her only friends. To Rosa, who knew her daughter was a little different from normal children, having this peculiar side of her daughter exposed and found fault with was more unbearable than anything. Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. I had an excuse to stop reading them. So she howled like she does. She's an expert at that. She raged. The welfare officer tried to cut between Rosa and Maria again, but she only met with Rosa's wrath again. Rosa once again threw the woman off with a face like a demon, And when even that failed to curb her anger, she stomped on the ground over and over again so forcefully that it seemed she might break through the floor. Then, after seeming to come back to her senses for just a second, she suddenly froze her rough breathing and asked Maria.
マリア、そのウサギの音楽隊はマリアの大切なお友達？
Oh no, 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 no. Maybe I'm projecting some of my own experiences, but I have this feeling she's just gonna smash them to the floor.
そう。4人もお友達がいてよかったわ。
Oh no, no, it's happening, isn't it? Oh god. As she said that, Rosa took one of the rabbits from Maria's hand. Then she shoved it in front of Maria's eyes so that she could see it very well. It was a cute little doll, like a chess piece, of a rabbit holding a trumpet. Oh, that's so cute! No! She slowly lifted it into the air. Of course, Maria's and Sakutaro's eyes also followed it. And then, with the speed that the eye couldn't follow, she hurled it against the wall. Of course she did. She had half imagined that this worst possible thing might happen, so she instantly realized what had been done. So Maria let out a short, despairing scream. It was in pieces. Interesting that they chose to show the blood splatter image, okay. It had been small and sturdy, but not enough to accept her mother's fierce rage.
ママの言うことをちゃんと聞かないから一つ壊れちゃったわ。今後ママの言うことを守らないたびにまた一つ壊すからね。覚えておきなさい。あなたそんなことするなんて母親ですか？そんなことしてお嬢さんが傷つかないと思ってるんですか？マリアが傷つく？私も傷ついているのよ。私の傷は誰が責任取ってくれるのよ。誰が？あんたは黙っててって言ってるでしょ。やめてママ。悪いのはマリア。おばさんを怒らないで。
マリアは悪くないよ。僕が悪いの。マリアを怒らないで。うりゅうりゅうりゅうりゅうりゅう。
そのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろって言ったでしょ。だいたいね、気持ち悪いのよ。ぬいぐるみがお友達ってあんた今年でいくつよ。何歳よ。
I'm 33. I still love all of my stuffed animals. What do you mean? Yeah.
こんなの布と綿の気持ち悪い下手くそなぬいぐるみじゃない。こんなのしか友達いないのはあんた。
Well, yeah.
こんな化け物のぬいぐるみとお友達ごっこしてる暇があったらちゃんとした人間の友達を作りなさいよ。
No. For me, things like I don't want to intervene too much talking in the middle of the story. Maybe we have the chance to chat a little bit more at the end, like last time. But I think I have expressed enough empathy and understanding towards Rosa's situation throughout the novel. Not just now, not just last stream, but since the beginning, and since the very first time that we even glimpsed what their relationship was like. But everything really went too far for me with the whole ticket thing from a while ago, not from last time, some streams ago. Maria finding the ticket and Rosa just flying into rage, then obviously doing her usual martyr moment of would you forgive your mother, blah 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 blah. Okay, fine, that crossed the line. But the repeat? No. No, I can't. I can't. I can extend courtesy and kindness and willingness to try to understand to anyone when they do something once. But when it happens and it has an aftermath, like the one when Rosa finally came back home and Maria found the ticket, and Maria didn't even like accuse her of anything. That was just Rosa projecting her own things onto Maria and onto herself. Because Maria didn't do anything. She didn't accuse her of anything. She, in her heart, she defended her mom with everything that she had, right? So that happens. You have that moment where you break down crying, begging your child to forgive you, and then you go around and do it again. Which, who says that it even stops at 2? So now, tonight, I reserve the right to no longer extend all of that kindness and empathy that I have done. I reserve the right to be upset as well. So that's where I am. Rikishi is bold in his writing because he's showing Rosa from her very worst side repeatedly, which makes it very easy to hate her. That's one line that I'm not crossing. I don't hate her. I don't want to hate her because then I am falling into the trap. I feel like I'm falling into a trap if I go as far as hating her. And I think that is the trap that the novel itself is telling you, don't do that. With the whole seeing things with love spiel. But just in this moment right now, I reserve the right to be upset. I am upset, okay? One of the core tenets of remorse is genuine regret for one's actions. See, here is where I'm trying not to fall too much into the trap of feeling negative things. Because it's so easy right now to take what you said and be like, yeah, of course, Rosa has absolutely no regret. She is just fake. Whenever she apologizes to Maria, she never means it because she goes around and does the same thing all over again. And it's very easy to go into that train of thought. And at the same time, I don't blame anyone, but I see it as a bit of a slippery slope, or the beginning of a slippery slope. So I don't want to go so far as to say, even if it's just a character and, you know, in a story we get some insight into things that maybe we wouldn't get in real life towards a real person. But I don't want, either way, even if it's just a character, I don't want to go so far as to say that I know that this person doesn't have genuine regret. Because I just don't want to go so far as to make those kinds of assumptions about anyone. That is something that is very deeply in someone's heart, and it's very hard for someone on the outside to judge. So I'm not basing my feelings or my views on the situation on the idea that, oh, she definitely does not have genuine regret. I know that. I can't know that for sure. But I'm basing it on her actions, and her actions speak loudly enough and give me enough reasons to be upset without having to go so far as to say she doesn't have genuine regret. Maybe she does, but it's worth 0 when her actions are this. So she can go into her bed and cry herself into her pillow that night and actually feel genuine remorse, but it doesn't do anything for anyone if the next day she wakes up and does the same thing all over again. So it's like he's testing the reader, and it's understandably not an easy thing to do. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I'm trying very hard to not fall into traps, pitfalls, and slippery slopes. It's hard. Yeah, it's something that I actually brought up in the past in other novels as well. It's just my general approach to these things. And also, which is why I feel like I am a little bit more free in expressing opinions and feelings towards characters and situations in fictional settings, Whereas if similar things were happening in real life, I would be a lot more cautious and careful when approaching that, because yeah, I don't put myself so high as to make definitive statements about people's inner frameworks, their feelings, their genuine regrets or lack of thereof, and stuff like that. So just, no, I can't. Of course she has genuine regrets. Look, she's regretting giving Sakutaro to Maria right now. Oh, man. Okay, let's move on. I don't understand how her feelings towards the bear are so absolutely... like, her word choice and her attitude towards it. Why the fuck is it so negative? She made it. If it's gross to her, I don't think it is. But okay, if she perceives it as that, why didn't she make it better then? There's also an interesting parallel here. Sakutaro is Maria's only friend and Maria is Rosa's only friend, as she said so herself in the past. Beto with the certified burns, yeah. Beto is an expert at that. Yeah, it's an interesting point, Dezo. I would certainly hope that these thoughts that Rosa is voicing towards Sakutaro are not thoughts that she has about her own daughter, too.
なんであなたにはいつまでもお友達ができないのよ。そうなんだからいつまでもクラスで変わり者扱いされてバカにされてもうほんとしっかりしていい加減にしてこんなぬいぐるみ遊びもう卒業しちゃってよ。
うりゅう
だからそのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろって。
マナ返してサキタロウ返してうりゅう
Mama grabbed hold of Sakutaro's head and snatched him from me. Then she smashed him against the wall over and over.
痛いよ
やめろっつってんのよ。そのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろっつってんでしょ。こんなぬいぐるみがあるから。だからあんたはいつまでも友達を作らないのよ。だから一人だけクラスで浮いてておかしな子扱いされるんでしょうが。こんなぬいぐるみあげなきゃよかった。こんな気持ち悪いぬいぐるみあげなきゃよかった。やめてー。サクタロ返してサクタロ返してサクタロはマリアのお友達なの。親友なの。サクタロさえいれば他には何もいらない。だから返して。
For me, it is much easier to deeply connect with non-human entities in an empathic way, or even with emotions projected onto them in stories, i.e. animals or even stuffed animals. They never did me wrong in life, and if I'm being honest, I probably talked a lot more to them than I should have in my youth. This scene breaks me, or broke me. I still talk to my stuffed animals. Not to the point of, you know, having full playtime with them. But, you know, they're there. Sometimes I clean them, sometimes I rearrange them, and you know, it's like, oh, how are you? How have you been? Oh, let me clean your wing. It's a little bit dusty. Oh, you're so fluffy. You know, stuff like that. Give them a hug. Stuff, you know, stuff like that. I love them. Each of them has a special significance to me, and I love having them close by, and there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, they're so cute, tostators. I have a plush cat named Miyoko after Higurashi character. Oh, that's so nice. What color is it? Very nice. Now we're bonding over our relationships with our plush toys. If there's no hope in this chapter, at least we found it with each other. Talking about our plushies. Yeah. And my most recent acquisition in terms of plushies is a quite large, yeah, I think it's the large version of Hedwig. She is so fluffy and white and bird-like, and yes, I hug her occasionally. Light gray, very nice. Amazing naming sense, Chidarin. Oh, nice. So, yeah. Poor Maria. For some reason, my fronting request just added oil to the fire of Mama's anger. Oh, we have a Burn Castle plush. Nice. As I pulled on Sakura, trying to make him to take him back, Mama pushed my arm aside, and in a bizarre way, she stuck her fingernails on both hands deep into Sakutaro's, twisting him. Chidarin approves of the plush choice. The red scarf, which I had carefully wrapped for him every day, came undone and fell to the floor. Sakutaro, who had been so precious to me. He was crumpled, twisted, torn at with fingernails, so much. He was twisted in pain, his face grimacing, so sadly. Then Mama's fingernails found a stitch on the neck and tore it. With the fingernails of both hands, she tore him apart. Talking about anything else during the scene feels kinda wrong. It's a coping mechanism. Please don't judge us, we're all in a lot of pain here, okay? So we're bonding over our plushies. Oh man. When they cry games have never failed to make me cry. Yeah, I guess so. In that instant, Sakutaro's yellow cloth and the cotton inside burst apart. It looked almost like moist cotton candy.
Ryu... Kutaro... Maria... Sakutaro... Oh... Ryu... Kutaro... Oh... Taro...
The crumpled yellow cloth and the cotton candy that was flowing out. Cotton candy. Oh man. Were thrust right in front of my eyes. Then, through Mama's face, the evil being stated it clearly.
サク太郎は死んでしまいました。
She has no idea what she just did. Not just generally speaking, doing something like this to a child who's very attached to a plush toy, but in this very particular instance, to this very particular child and this very particular plush toy. She has no idea. Saddest death in Umineko. I can get behind that. Even his character profile got updated now. The others, I guess the sadness in the others got overshadowed by the shock factor and the gruesomeness. But this one is, yeah, this one hits. Yeah, hard to look at that sprite. Lady Maria's pure white heart, torn asunder. His broken vessel can only be regenerated by Rosa, the Meister who made him. However, Rosa disposed of all the vessel's scraps, and even lost the sewing pattern. On top of this, because his existence was denied by the Meister herself, resurrecting him is impossible. With the Meister's death in 1986, his resurrection was lost forever. Resurrecting him is impossible even for the Endless Witch Beatrice. Okay. Last thing I wanted to hear in this moment, but okay. I have no idea what I'm supposed to... What? I guess it's Maria crying and speaking in gibberish. And variations of Sakutaro's name through tears and probably a snotty nose. Sakutaro. Yeah. I guess this has... Choosing that this does not have voice acting has a completely different impact. Because I'm pretty sure we can all imagine it in our heads, and it's 10 times worse than if it had had voice acting.
Maria. Maria. 泣くんでない。
ベアトリーチェ！ベアトリーチェ！
作太郎は良き友人であった。そなたがそれを忘れぬ限り、常にそなたと共にある。だから、泣くんでない。
生き返らせて！ベアとはいろんな魔法が使えるんだもんね。作太郎だって生き返らせられるよね。
それは無論作太郎がわらわの家具だったならそれもたやすい。しかし作太郎はそなたの家具だ。わらわにそれは難しい。
難しいってことは無理じゃないんだよね。生き返らせて！無限の魔法で生き返らせて！
実はな、作太郎のよりしろはローザの手作りのぬいぐるみであったろう。そのローザが作太郎を否定した。母にその生を許されなかった命は存在できぬのだ。
Beatrice's words were feeble, because she knew that no matter what the excuse, it wouldn't be enough to calm Maria and make her accept it. But she had to communicate the painful truth to her disciple and close friend. She had to tell her the fact that even with all of her own magic, even she could not revive Sakutaro.
そなたが作太郎の存在を強く信じる限り、その魂が消え去ることはない。だからマリア、どうか悲しむな。今もほら、すぐそこで作太郎が微笑んでいると信じるのだ。
やだ！やだ！やだ！やだ！作太郎を生き返らせてくれなきゃ！やだ！やだ！やだ！やだ！
諦めよ。作太郎を蘇らせる魔法はない。そしてそれでもなお作太郎がそなたの親友であり続けることを強く信じよ。その力が魔法となる。
そんなの魔法じゃない！魔法じゃない！作太郎が生き返らなきゃ嫌だ！ママの手作りだからダメなの？どうしてママは作太郎を作ったの？マリアにプレゼントするためじゃないの？
Very good questions.
マリアのお友達にするためじゃないの？なのに、なんでママは自分で作って自分で壊したの？どうしてママは自分で産んで自分で壊そうとするの？わかんない！わかんない！ママが憎いよ！ママが憎い！悔しい！悔しい！悲しい！悲しい！作太郎がそうされたようにママをねじり上げてやりたい！爪を立てて引き裂いて布地と綿にしてやりたい！ 悔しいよベアトリーチェ
From the darkness behind Maria's back, two massive jet black arms crept out, coiling around Maria as she sobbed in anger. Then massive fingernails stuck into Maria's chest and stomach. Maria could not see them, but Beato could. Anger and sadness without any place to go will tear you apart. Beato knew that. She could see that. Yes, in the end. Those massive arms were Maria's own. Those fingernails slowly started to dig into her chest and stomach. With their immense size and strength, those arms would probably tear Maria into bits easily. I can't even read anymore. Yeah, it's okay, it's okay. Why did Mama make him herself and break him herself? Not only does it hit hard, but it relates to both Sakutaro and Maria. You mean, why did Rosa make Maria and now is hurting Maria? Yeah. Wouldn't we all want to understand that? Oh. But Maria herself couldn't notice. Drowning in a sea of her own tears, she couldn't notice that her own arms were trying to tear apart her own chest.
悔しいサク太郎がどうしても生き返らせられないならマリアは復讐したいママを同じ目に合わせてやりたいサク太郎と同じ目に合わせてやりたいのベアトリーチェそのための魔法を教えてママをやっつける魔法を教えて
This is very interesting. It gives me goosebumps, and it's surprisingly deep. I didn't expect it to go this way too, but I mean, of course. Now that it does it, it makes perfect sense. To highlight just how no matter how justified it might be in your sadness and anger, when you let it get a hold of yourself to this extent, when you get to this point of I want to hurt and break just as much as I was hurt and broken, it's no good. And in a way, maybe I'm reaching out, but I see it as a reflection of what Enja was going through last time as well, because she was also overwhelmed by her own distress and pain, and so she tried to provoke distress and pain both onto herself and onto others. Yeah. It's certainly no coincidence that these chapters are back to back. No, it's just to mess with my head and the timeline. That's what is happening. The most lighthearted Umineko episode, for sure! Definitely.
その言葉は本心。
ママを殺す
Yeah.
殺してやるあれはママじゃないよママに取り付いた悪い魔女だママの魔女を殺してやる
よかろう。その力をそなたに与えよう。
Oh god, I'm scared.
心美しきそなたが自らに引き裂かれるくらいならばそなたにその苦しみを与えた心なき母こそがよほど引き裂かれるに値する。教えようぞそなたに魔女の世界の光さすことなき深淵の奥底を。
サク太郎みんな嫌い大嫌いママも嫌いエンジェも嫌い
Good magic and evil magic.
みんな大嫌い
The island of the witch. Oh man, we're skipping in time again. I had been trying to take a nap, but the boat really was shaking bad. I gave up on sleeping and went up onto the deck. Who is this I? Who's narrating? I was overwhelmed by the shining sun and a strong sea breeze. Ah, up on the deck, Amakusa was doing some stretches. Okay, interesting. He probably has a lot of time on his hands too. It'll still take a while longer to reach Nijima. It would only have taken on the... Why is it so difficult for me to read? I think I'm just... I need a moment, but I can't take it. It would only have taken on the order of half an hour by airplane, but there was the chance that the Sumadera's net extended over Nijima Airport. The harbor would probably be the same. For that reason, I had obtained a boat that would let me land while avoiding the harbor with no questions asked. I'd bumped into a cheery boat captain, treated him with generosity, and he had decided to help me out, amused.
まだだいぶかかるの?
Yeah. Thank you for your understanding. Especially since nothing special needs to happen for me to trip over words. I do it on a regular basis. So, this is now highly blown out of proportion.
さっき船長に聞いたら、あと2時間はたっぷりかかるそうです。ま、贅沢は言えないですね。
Thank you for the pet pets. Definitely need them.
いいお天気ね。焼けちゃいそう。
甲板で読書ですか？本が傷みますよ。
Amakusa apparently got that idea because I was clutching Maria One-chan's diary under my arm. I'd been reading it as I tried to fall asleep, which was why I had come back up still carrying it.
どうですか？マリアさんの日記から六軒島の真相は探れそうですかい？
さあ、あの島で何があったかなんて、どこまで調べても仮説でしかない。メッセージボトルもお姉ちゃんの日記も、魔女が闊歩するおとぎ話が記されているだけで、何もお手上げよ。
新島での関係者からの聞き込みに期待するしかないですな。
ウィッチハンターどもが散々質問攻めにしてるでしょうから、きっと新事実なんて見つからないわよ。
そこまで期待してないのに、半日も船旅をして新島に行こうなんて、実に気まぐれなことです。
調べたっていう自己満足のための旅みたいなものよ。本気で12年前の真実が解き明かせるなんて、私も甘えてるつもりはないわ。
その自己満足が終わったら、どうするつもりで？
さあ、考えてないわ。新島に行って、関係者に話を聞いて、最後に六軒島に行って花でも捧げたら、私の旅はおしまいね。
Several days had already passed since this journey began. After being told by a burnt castle on the roof of that building to search for the truth of 12 years ago, I left on a journey akin to trying to grasp a cloud. At the time, I felt something mystical about it, and I remember feeling as if I might be able to grasp some kind of miracle at the end of this journey. But several days are enough to bring a person back down from that high. As I stood on the roof of that skyscraper that day, my heart had nowhere left to go. It was completely dead. Wanting from the bottom of my heart to be released from the cage of my body and rise into the sky, I crossed the fence in order to die. Maybe experiencing the desire to die and actually stepping forwards, throwing my body down, caused some kind of mystical experience inside my head, making me think I had received a message from a witch. I mean, sure, you can explain it and justify it that way too. Oh my god, guys. I probably sound like an idiot, laughing and then going back to reading about NJ jumping off a building. It's such a contrast, but the chat is too funny. Okay. The more the excitement from jumping down lessened over time, and the more I came back to my senses, the more this journey lost its meaning. But I'd never considered suspending this journey just because of that. If I stopped this journey, it would mean acknowledging that the message from that witch was an illusion. And I felt as if that meant throwing away the promise the witch had made, and any chance that someone from my family might come back. Yeah, and I appreciate the heck out of you for that, because we need it, clearly. So I'm continuing this journey because I want to believe in that illusion. I don't seriously believe that this journey will change anything. I'm even free to end it at any time. It's up to me to choose where the final destination is. In the end, this journey is only for my personal self-satisfaction. And ours, please.
自己満足か。
If the game isn't going to give you comedic relief, we'll do it for you. You're doing a stellar job. Thank you.
聞こえは悪いですが、そいつが実は人生ってやつではないかと思ってます。
傭兵家業で視線をくぐった末に至った答えだったなら、なかなか味わい深いじゃない。
茶化さんでください。俺が言いたいのは、自己も何も自分を認められるのは世の中で自分だけしかいないってことです。
Amakusa continued stretching as he spoke, in an annoyingly eloquent way. Hearing it told to me as though from a teacher made me instinctively want to resist, but what he was saying was extremely sensible.
そうかもね。人は誰かに認められたくて努力をするわ。多くの場合、それは親ね。親に褒められたくて子供は努力を覚える。だから私は覚えなかったわけだけど。
すんません。そういうつもりで言ったんじゃないです。俺が言いたいのは、自己満足大いに結構ってことなんです。
I like Amakusa. I really like him.
誰に褒められたって、それを納得できなきゃ意味がない。逆を返しゃ、誰に褒められなくったって、自分が納得できりゃそれでいいってことです。
He gets it. He's my man. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it. This is the part you meant? I love it. Yes. 100% with him, especially on the last part. Especially on the last part. I have no ways to express just how deeply I connect with that. Yes. Yes.
自己満足と向上心って矛盾するから、普通は
It
悪
gets
い
even
こと
better.
って教えられるわよね。
I love Umineko character interactions. Yeah, it's so good. So good. Oh, interesting. Self-satisfaction and self-improvement contradict each other. So if you're too satisfied with yourself, you tend to not want to improve because you're satisfied. Yeah, but as everything in life, there are extremes to it, and there's a balance to be struck somewhere. And somewhere in between these is where the path should be, and not at an extreme. Rikishi hit you with despair. Now it's time for life lessons. Yes, please.
天草の論法はなんだか新鮮よ。
誰かに認めてほしくて、だけれど何を努力すればいいのかわからないのが人の世の苦しみです。
When you want to satisfy someone, you want recognition, but you don't know where to put the effort. Deep.
俺にもそういう頃があった。誰かに認められたくて、でも何を認められればいいかわからなくて、そして何をどこまで努力すれば誰に認めてもらえるかわからなくて。
That's not what. I can see where you would take it in that direction, but yeah. Oh god.
随分と無茶苦茶をやってきたもんです。
それで天草が至った答えが自己満足だっていうの？
聞こえは悪いがそういうことです。 我ただ樽を知るってやつですわ。俺がこれでいいと思った人生なら、それはとやかく言われてどうこうってもんじゃない。
It's okay, she already said she won't show them.
エンジェさんの人生もこの旅も同じです。エンジェさん以外の誰にもとやかく言う権利なんてない。旅の意味と成果はエンジェさんだけが決める。
Well, I guess she's getting the parenting that she didn't have the chance to get, all compacted and put together into one conversation. Yes, I trust there. Fully.
エンジェさんにとって有意義な旅になったなら、それで十分なんですよ。
あんたってちゃらけてる男だと思ってたけど、たまに変なこと言い出すのね。そういうこと、たまに言うとモテると思ってるでしょ。
まさかまさか、そんなつもりで言ったんじゃありません。どうやらお一人になりたいようだ。俺は船長のところへ行っていますぜ。どうぞごゆっくり。
He's so cool. He can read the vibe and be like, ah, okay. Maybe this is not the moment and I will see myself out. I love it. I can believe that a lot of things are there that maybe you wouldn't immediately imagine, but other people did. So when you make a compilation of that, you would probably see quite a bunch of stuff. I would prefer not to, though. I'm good. But obviously this is a personal decision and doesn't reflect in any way on you, so feel free to have fun. I'm sitting that one out. She is, though. She has the best curated collection of fan art. It seemed Amakusa had decided I was in a bad mood, although I didn't feel that way myself. Maybe he had just finished a set of stretches and wanted to cool off in the shade. The sea winds were strong, but not enough to take the edge off the rays of the sun. With that budget, I expect a portable choco machine. Oh, that's cool. I hadn't thought about it in those terms, but yeah, I guess you're right. I don't think that came from a place of I'm being paid for this, so I must deliver a place, though. That felt quite genuine. In terms that he actually subscribes to those values, and he felt like it was appropriate to express that. And I do believe that Enja needed to hear that, so... very nice. Amakusa disappeared. Only I remained.
自己満足こそが人生か。そんなのつまらないです。人生はどこまでも強欲でなくっちゃ。
Oh man, now the timeline is getting a little bit... So what we saw last time was a flashback to an earlier time in her life where she did this whole summoning of the seven sisters, but things went wrong. So that is what happened, that she stopped, right? That's what was being referenced as well. But now we're back to, let's say, more or less present day, the most further into the future day that we are exploring in this episode. And this is the second time that she summoned Mammon. So Mammon is still here, but now we know the history. Is that it? Did I get it right? There's our favorite steak, here to mentally support our edgy teenager. It's correct, thank you. Mental support guard comes with the service. I think it's a bit of a cherry on top. When she wears her St. Lucia uniform, it's in just past. Yeah, I agree with that. I was just trying to get everything straightened out into my head in terms of how it happened, like the sequence of how it happened. And also why things are okay now, more or less. I noticed that Mammon had suddenly appeared, her full hair streaming out in the wind by the prow of the ship.
強欲な人生は確かに楽しいわ。でも、あなたと違って人間には寿命がある。永遠に強欲のままだったなら、人は死ぬ最後の瞬間にも欲があることになる。欲があるということはつまり欲しいということ、持っていないということ、満たされていないということ。自分が満たされていると思えないまま死ぬのはきっと辛いことよ。だからきっと自己満足って必要なんだわ。なるほど。寿命ある存在にはそういう妥協点も必要ってことですか。私たちの主はやたらと寿命の長いお方ばかりだったんで考えたこともなかったです。
I guess it's an interesting consideration that all of this is downstream of us having a short life and needing to make something of it, something meaningful of it. And at the end of the day, what's important is that it's meaningful to you, not to other people, because if you try to satisfy other people and not yourself, then you will have desires and regrets on your deathbed. Interesting.
人間ってのは満たされるために生きてるのかしら。だとしたら無欲が一番人生に優しいことになるわ。
It's a pretty grim conclusion to reach, though. Easy? Okay. Depends what you define as easy. The less, or like the most effortless? Possibly. But how does that like, how do you feel at the end of that? Easiest, yeah. How do you actually feel at the end of a life like that? Hmm?
なるほど。7つの大罪の一つが強欲になるのも納得ね。
Oh, Superman. I strictly meant to call out NJ on what she said, not anyone in chat. Very few things worth doing are easy after all. Yeah. Indeed.
お褒めに預かり光栄です。
Apparently that counted as praise in Mammon's eyes. She turned and gave a graceful curtsy.
エンジ様、人間は死の瞬間に満足であるために生きてるんですか？死の瞬間に何かが満たされていないのはきっと辛いんじゃない？
It must be pretty tough to be somehow incomplete at the moment of your death. Tsurai. That means that it's hard on the person who has reached the end of their life and is feeling this way. Not that it's difficult to be incomplete, because pretty sure more often than not people do feel that way. Right? Wanting more out of life will also bring inevitable hardship. That's probably why she called Mammon a sin. The question if it's worth it is up to the individual. Yeah, it's true. But like I said, I firmly believe that when you go to the extreme of absolutely anything in life, and any extreme of it, because there are different directions and they all can lead to an extreme, that's not really where you want to be. And so this whole spiel that she's saying, oh, it's just don't want anything at all ever in your life, and that'll be the easiest. It's like, I would reconsider that, because nah, it is up to her. But I would still, if I heard someone say that and I were having any sort of, you know, closeness to them, I would try to have a conversation of maybe, why are you thinking that? Because I would be genuinely concerned for that person. It's up to them, sure, but it would raise some alarms and worry in me.
だとしたら人間は満足な死を迎えるためだけに生きてるわけですね。
That's also oversimplifying it.
より良い死のために生きてる。
A better death. No. At least I wouldn't see it that way, or maybe I'm not getting what she
死ぬため
means.
に生きてる。
Wow, that's a hell of a thing to say. Yes, I should have expected that from a demon stake. However, her words might be the truth. Humans suffer because they aren't whole and live only to be made whole. That might be the same, in other words, as a desire to die. To die while whole.
言い返せないわ。人は満たされるために生きてる。そして満たされたまま死にたいと願ってる。
Okay, yeah, okay, that makes a bit more sense.
だからその満たされ方がわからないのはとても辛いことだわ。
どうやれば満たされるんです？人間の人生は
認めてもらうことよ。お前は幸せだってね。
誰が認めてもいいものでしたら私が認めてあげますよ。
そうよ。そこの誰に認めてもらえばいいのかわからないのよ、人は。
その認めてくれる人を探すのが人生の旅なんですか。へえ。
Interesting.
おかしな話ね。認めてもらおうと認めてもらわなかろうと自分の境遇に変化はないはず。にもかかわらず認められれば満たされ、認められないから満たされない。
I would also throw in there that a certain amount of self-acceptance is also needed. Of course, it can't be the only thing. If you only accept yourself but nobody does, then you're still incomplete. But even if everyone accepts you, or like everyone that you care about accepts you, but you don't accept yourself, then you're still incomplete. So.
まるで青い鳥だわ。
Oh, the bluebird again.
カゴの中にもう青い鳥はいるのに、それに気づけないからどこまでも探しに旅立たなければならない。
何ですかそれ。人間の人生ってバカですね。
そうね。天草は本当にいいことを言ったわ。我ただ樽を知るか。何のことわざか知らないけど味わい深いわ。
Yeah, there's a got activated at the mention of the bluebird.
つまるところ、誰かに認めてもらわなければ満ち足りないとは、すなわち自らを認められないということ。究極の自己実現はまず自分を自分で認めることだったのよ。
そりゃそうです。自分が満ち足りてるって自覚できるなら誰にも認めてもらう必要なんかないですから。その小さなことに気づくだけで人間のくだらない人生の旅は簡単に終了ですね。残った時間を有意義に遊んで過ごせます。
I would say it's not that easy, but alright. The ultimate self-fulfillment begins with self-acceptance. That's a top-tier quote for me. Yep. I am behind that quote. I just don't think that, again, don't go to the extreme. If all you have is self-acceptance, maybe there are a few other things to question in your life. I'm just saying. Rikshi spelling out the things that you already thought just a few seconds later is so precious. Oh. It's fun when it happens. I had these moments ever since I started reading. I had so many of them in Steins Gate. I had a bunch of them in the other novels. Having them here too is, in a way, is very fulfilling. Particularly because I started this with the worry of that, I don't know, that I might not be a good fit for this story that you all like, and that I might just botch it. But having this happen kind of highlights that there's still a connection that I have to it, that maybe it's not the, you know, usual or not common among the people who seek out this kind of story themselves, who is like kind of, this is their cup of tea, which for me it is not. I'm definitely in unknown territory and out of my comfort zone. But still being able to form this kind of connection, and the novel kind of confirming the things that I think is a way of me being acknowledged as worthy of reading it in a way. Okay? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I feel, and it's nice. Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to throw that in there because it's very easy to take a quote like that out of context and forget about the fact that, right, the quote is really good. Self-acceptance is important. And as Enja said, it's not cultivated because society generally pushes you towards self-improvement, and you're constantly told that you're not enough and you're not there and you still have to keep grinding, which again, that if you only have that, that's another extreme that you don't want to be at. But it's still, there's a percentage, something of that is still needed in someone's life, right? You can't just be like, oh, I'm here, everything is great, I accept myself, I will never look at my flaws or faults or anything, I will never try to be any better because I accept myself, you know? That's, again, a pitfall you can fall into. So, yeah, when distilling things to quotes, I really always want to take care to not forget the rest and kind of, like, I approve of the quote being cool, just keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. The scene comes right after Sakutaro's death, so I've never been able to pay proper attention to it. Aw, well, I'm glad we're stopping and talking a little bit about it, so I guess now you can get the chance. Isn't this like the, I don't know, dozen time? How many times have you done this novel? You've never really had the chance to do it until now? Aw. The question mark honestly feels like Rikishi reading your mind for nearly 60 hours straight. Umineko has some of my least favorite storytelling elements, but uses them so well, I can't help but love it. I think almost anyone can get something out of it. Yeah, that is true. Dezo really likes to quote that you can get out of Umineko exactly what you put into it, which I think is... the more we go into it, the more I understand the depths of that. Yeah. Yeah. Umineko turns some people off due to its sheer length, which is fair, but I think it needs a lot of that length. Just imagine scenes like this being in episode 1, it just wouldn't work in my opinion. I am all for taking the time to explore things to the depth that is necessary to properly drive your point across, and some things do need time and do need patience, and I'm all for it. So if that's what is requested of me to get something out of this novel, at least I know for sure I have that. And I think I have showed it time and time again that I went through all of these novels from beginning to end, just patiently, on schedule, for over... When did I start? I started reading novels in 2019. It's been over 4 years. And I've done pretty lengthy ones, and this is definitely top of the list in terms of length. And I will do it. And I will cross it off the list. I'll be like, huh, I did that. I've been plenty of people who call these scenes with Indra in episode 4 boring and pointless, which is their opinion and all, but yeah, I feel you. It's a struggle when you connect with something so deeply, and to you it makes perfect sense, and the fact that the story takes so much time to explore it and properly express all of the layers that go into it and make you think about it and so on, to you that's absolute, you know, pure ambrosia, right? If that's what you're into. But if someone else is not into that, to them is torture and boring. So I totally understand and vibe with what you're saying in terms of, this is so good, there's so much in here, you want it to be appreciated, but at the same time, you know, other people will not see it that way, and maybe you yourself have things in the novel that are not that deep to you, but to other people maybe they are. Right? So it's fair. Like you said, everyone takes out of Umineko exactly what they put into it, and that is okay. I feel like Rikishi was ahead of his time and he created something that could count as public reading. A shared reading experience is exactly what made me cherish Umineko the most. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, you expressed this pretty well. It's like, it's not that I didn't think about it. I did. I just didn't think, I didn't distill it to the proper words so far. And in you, I think you nailed it. Well, it is the longest VN of all time. You ain't finding longer. Okay. I'm honest, I don't think I would have finished it reading it alone and not communicating my thoughts and theories. I see. Episode 4 is the best? Okay. There's some other indie VNs that don't have a translation that are even longer, but yeah, Umineko is definitely near the top. Oh yeah, I forgot there was some new ones recently that overtook the length. Okay. Oh wow. That must be massive.
人間の人生ってバカバカしい。
Mamon's choice of words was bad, but it was surely the truth. If most of a human's life is a journey wishing for someone's acceptance so that they can achieve a satisfied death, then the moment they realize that the person to accept them is not someone else, but them themselves, they can end that pointless journey. Humans who have finished that journey can probably spend the rest of their lives as they wish, with their heads held high. How sublime, how praiseworthy would that be?
天草ってさ、親とはかなり仲が悪いらしいのよ。そりゃそうよね。
Rance X is a proper video game, though it's a bit unfair to compare them. Rance X is the longest VN ever. It's twice as long as Umineko in terms of Japanese characters. Okay, I've never heard of it.
まっとうな親なら足を洗わせたいと願うような商売だもの。別にいいんじゃない？本人が楽しいなら。まったくよね。結局はそういうことなのよ。他人が観測した自分の評価なんかどうでもいいこと。自分の存在を自分自身がしっかり認められたならそれで十分なのよ。
I don't disagree with what she's saying. You need that. Especially, like I said, in the society that drives us further and further from self-acceptance. This is incredibly important. But if that's all you have, I mean, I would dare Enjit to imagine herself in a reality where her brother existed, but he didn't accept her. For some reason, he disapproved of her. Would she really just... Would her heart skip no beat and just keep going her own merry way and be like, I accept myself, this is good enough, and I can... No, there would be something within her that would be like, oh, but why? Oh, where is this coming from? You know? Those are the kinds of considerations that sometimes are still important to have even when you do accept yourself. Obviously, you shouldn't like start having that at anyone expressing doubt towards you. Because again, that's counterproductive and it's going the complete opposite way. But there are, I still think there are some instances where it's important to explore if where other people are coming from by not accepting you or expressing disapproval is worth pondering about. I'm activating turbo mode? No. Alright.
自分に自信を持って生きられるならどんな生活だって受け入れて納得できるに違いない。天草はきっといつか戦場で流れ弾を食らってあるいは死ぬことさえあるかもしれない。でも天草はそれを理不尽とは思わないと思う。それも人生と。あいつはケラケラ笑ってるような気がするの。
I can subscribe to that. He does give me that kind of vibe as well.
いい生き様じゃない。惚れるわ。 自分で自分を認められない哀れな人間は生涯それを求めてさまよい、何も受け入れられず不平不満だけを口にし、満たされないまま死んでいく。哀れだわ。何の目的もなくだらだらと生きてる連中に比べたら、やがてのだれ死にするかもしれないけれど、自分の人生に胸を張っている天草の方がよっぽど高潔なのよ。人生悟ったものの勝ちってことじゃない？少しでも早く悟れれば、その分有効に残りの人生が過ごせてお得よね。
At those words of Mamon's, I finally came to terms with a certain fact. I had described her as an abnormal kid, a little strange. However, that wasn't the case. She had simply finished that journey faster than anyone else, and taught herself to keep her own chin up and live with confidence.
だからマリアお姉ちゃんはすごかったのかもしれない。彼女は小学校低学年になるかならないかという年齢のうちにそれに至ったのよ。
Other people like us, looking at her life from the outside, couldn't call it happy by any standard. But even though such days were engraved in her diary, the entries always finished up by saying it was a happy day. Even though you can catch glimpses of her mother's lack of love for her. In spite of that, she believed that her mother did love her. The mother's love that didn't exist, she created herself, filling her world with love. Others observed her as an unfulfilled, pitiful girl. But she told herself that she was fulfilled and accepted herself how she was. I think Maria just... maybe she didn't realize that she did it unconsciously, but she refused to be a victim of her circumstances. That's a big thing. It's a big, big thing. There are proper adults that struggle with that. Good for her. And so she was happy that way. It's easy to observe that as something pitiable and sad. But to her, that was an outsider's opinion and didn't matter in the slightest. The only important thing was whether or not this was happiness to her. Just like how, when people who live in the city point to the lifestyle of those in the country and lament the inconvenience and feel sympathy for them, it's really just misplaced kindness. If those who live there are satisfied with what they have, it's more than enough.
私、ようやく気づいたわ。今気づいた。マリアお姉ちゃんにひどいことをしたのよ。あの日に。あなたたちにも、作太郎にも。魔法があるかないか、それを決めるのは他人じゃないわ。自分よ。マリアお姉ちゃんにとって魔法があるかないかは、マリアお姉ちゃんが決めるべき問題で、私が決めることじゃない。なのに、私は幼いあの日、口にしてしまった。魔法なんてあるわけないって。彼女を傷つけてしまった。
To me, magic doesn't exist. But that's my world. Denying One-chan's world as well just because of that was totally barking up the wrong tree.
マリアージュ・ソルシエルはマリアお姉ちゃんの作った魔女同盟。私はそれに誘われて一緒に魔女になろうと言われたの。新しい面白い遊びだと思って私はしばらくの間それにでも途中で飽きてしまった。そして鋭利な言葉で彼女の純粋無垢な心を切り裂いてしまったの。
See, this is where things get entangled for me, and I don't know how to disentangle them. Because if we're talking about the instance that seemed to have actually happened in her real life, when NJ was little and she actually did interact with Maria and told her that Sakutaro was not real, then that couldn't have been brought about by the cruelty of her youth, because the cruelty of her youth hadn't yet happened. Yeah? And then the later thing that happened when she was at St. Lucia, that was a reflection of different things, like a projection of her inner self, and it was, I guess the diary acted as a catalyst for it to happen and so on. But that happened to a, let's say, summoned version of Maria within Enje. It wasn't real life Maria, right? And maybe it was a reiteration of the pain that she had brought her for real when they were kids, but it's not comparable, right? So so when she was cruel when she was small, in that flashback that we saw in black and white, right? When the small cute voiced Enje was like, but this is not real, ha 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 ha. That couldn't have been brought about by the cruelty of losing her family, because that's what I understand from cruelty of youth. Or does she mean just simply that she was cruel because she was a kid? Maybe I misunderstood cruelty of youth. We unlocked evil Enje Kidna's real the ladder. Okay. Yeah, see, things like this trip me up. Because I thought she said, like, she overreacted because of the cruelty of her youth in terms of all of the stuff that was happening to her at the time that made her, you know, turn all her sadness and pain into murderous anger. And, you know, hurt Maria then, but that cannot apply to the past thing, because then she wouldn't have had the struggles. But if it's just cruelty of youth in terms of children can be cruel, maybe even without noticing it, then yeah, sure, then that makes sense. Yeah, okay, understood now. Okay, we can move on.
あの時大喧嘩をしたはず。私はすぐに忘れてしまったけれど、彼女には忘れられないものだった。
Yeah, I guess she relived it through the diary or something, and then she projected it.
なぜなら、彼女にとって魔法は確かに存在する自然な力で、それは私とも共有できると信じていたから。マリアお姉ちゃんにとって魔法は世界を幸福に解釈できる。いえ、全てを幸福にできる、まさに魔法の力だった。それを私にもお裾分けしたかっただけ。その気持ちを幼い私が引き裂いた。だから彼女は誰とも魔法は分かり合えないと殻の中に閉じこもってしまったのよ。だとしたらマリア卿もやはり人生の旅は終わってないわけね。自分に納得できてるならエンジ様に否定されたくらいでへこむ必要なんてないわけだし。お姉ちゃんは幼かった。天草みたいな達観にはまだ至ってなかったのよ。はあ、だからこそわかるわ。マリアージュ・ソルシエルという魔女同盟がなぜ必要なのか。
An alliance where each accepts that the other is a witch. Oh, interesting. Okay.
そうよ。それが確かマリアージュ・ソルシエルの取り決めの第一条だった気がする。
I mean, of course. It's not like we had forgotten about it.
同盟の魔女は互いを魔女と認め尊敬し合うことって、それこそが魔女同盟の一番の、そして唯一の意味なのよ。
Oh, that's interesting. Maria Onechan wanted to share with me the secret laws for making the world happy, called magic. But I was young, and she was too. I hurt her with innocent cruelty.
私はあの日に言ったわ、暴言を。あなたたちや作太郎に存在するわけがないって。失礼しちゃうわ。私たちが存在するって自らを認めてる。 魂が寝ぼけてる人間どもとはわけが違うのよ。我を思うゆえに我あり。魔法を認めようと否定しようと、私たち煉獄の七姉妹という魔法が存在することはゆえに事実。エンジェ様の言葉を借りるなら、
それを他者である私が否定するのはまさに暴力だわ。それはきっと実の母にお前なんか生まれてこなければよかったと。いいえ、消えてしまえと怒鳴りつけられるくらいにね。
Even after being slammed by all those words, Maria One-chan's magic made her believe in her mother's love. Saktaro, her magic friend, always encouraged her. He kept saying that her mother loved her, that she was coming home late because of her work, and that she would definitely bring back a present. Even after Maria learned the fact that it really wasn't because of work, magic still kept her believing that. So by believing that her mother loved her by accepting herself, she filled her world with love and peace and serenity and established it perfectly.
12年前に何があったのか、私の家族がどうなったのか、それを探る旅じゃなかったのよ、これは。
なら、この旅は何なの？
マリアお姉ちゃんに、あの日のことを謝る旅だったのよ。どうしてかわからないけど、そう思うの。あの日、彼女を傷つけなければ、12年前の事件は起こらなかったんじゃないかって。
I don't know how I feel about that. Why might it not have occurred? Only if Maria had been at the center of it or something. But, I don't know.
そう思うの。
I have no basis for it. I don't have a clue how hurting One-chan would be connected to that mysterious incident several years later. But for some reason, I can't imagine that there is no connection. Okay, yeah, right. I can go behind the thought that maybe there is some correlation or implication or something that derailed things in a certain direction because of it. But the full extent of it? Okay, I don't know. A witch caused that incident, and the culprit is the Golden Witch Beatrice. And Beatrice was part of the Maria Sorcier alliance of witches. I had horribly hurt the other witch of that alliance. I had hurt her by saying that magic doesn't exist. And that's why several years later an inexplicable crime by witch occurred. And that 2-day period which can't be explained with anything but magic was thrust in my face via a message bottle.
きっと、私は無関係じゃないのよ。わからない。偶然かもしれないし、運命かもしれない。なぜか、この旅で私はそう思うようになったわ。
根拠は？
ないわ。勝手にそう思ってるだけ。
Basically me reading this novel. What's the basis for it? Nothing, it's just my gut feeling. I have nothing else to give you, just my gut feeling, I'm sorry.
日本人って面白いわね。被害者であっても、自分に非があったように感じて、勝手に謝り出す。家族を奪ったベアトリーチ様憎しって言うなら、理解もできるけど。
I refuse to explain the devil's spur. Good one.
勝手に非を感じて、謝りたくなってくるなんて、本当に変わってるわ。
もちろん、ベアトリーチェは憎いわよ。その気持ちがなければ、この旅は続かないわ。でも、旅にもう一つ、目的を見出してもいい。12年前の魔女に復讐する旅に、さらに、昔の罪を謝罪する目的を加えたっていいんだわ。六軒島に行って、あの日の暴言を詫び、花を手向けることくらいはできる。いえ、花よりもっといいものがあるわ。そしてその方が、お姉ちゃんにはふさわしいと思う。
I stood up and, ignoring my hair being blown about by the sea breeze, I concentrated my mind. I lifted my palms up to the height of my head and imagined the vast space.
エンジュ様
Oh.
静かに。さあさあ、おいでなさい。
She's summoning Sakutaro.
我こそは魔女見習い、エンジェベアトリーチェ。破門にされてはしまったけれど、かつて同じ同盟に所属し、私と遊んでくれた懐かしき家具よ。我が呼びかけに応じよ。
It was hard to tell in the middle of the day, but the faint blue light gathered around the palms of my hands. Then, I revived Sakutaro's form. It truly was long missed, that figure. His cutie ears, his bright red scarf. It came off easily, so Onichan faithfully re-wrapped it all the time, didn't she?
サクタロ
The events of Enji's life we witness are disconnected time-wise but connected in meaning, specifically her rejecting Sakutaro when she was small and rejecting the stakes much later in life. For Enji, it's kind of the same event. Yeah, I'm noticing that. I'm doing my best to connect it and at the same time allow it to be disconnected so that things don't overlap in my head. But yeah, thanks for explaining and for guiding me.
わかる？私たちがわかる？おりょおりょ
Remember when this was a murder mystery? I don't want to think about it. To be honest, I dread the moment when we get back to the murder mystery. Because this is so much more interesting.
マモン、エンジェ。
Even if we're still grappling with like magic and what's the meaning of it and is it real or not, we're talking about it in much more meaningful ways. And I'm totally down to have a conversation about magic existing as part of like someone's perception and how magic can be made between people and the meanings of the, you know, their interactions and their connections with each other and so on. I am totally down with that. I do not reject magic in that way. I think I've already made that clear. If we want to talk about, oh, magic exists because these people were brutally murdered in this way, and there's no other way they could have been murdered unless by magic, I'm like, get out of here. Okay. So, yeah, definitely I'm enjoying this part better in terms of the things that we're uncovering and the meaning and the themes being explored and, you know, all of the events making us think and express our own views on things, which is always a nice thing to share with you. So this is definitely more enjoyable on a broader spectrum, of course, not the scenes of pain themselves. But just overall, as a net result, is much more enjoyable for me than the murder mystery. Speaking of, it's been quite some time since we've seen Battler. I do have a little bit of... what's the word for it? What is... bit of detachment anxiety that Battler is not here. I miss him too. I'm sure we'll get there. Without love, it cannot be seen. Okay. Ay. With a sleepy face, as though waking up from a long slumber, Sakutaro looked all around him as he spoke.
お久しぶりね、サクタロ。あなたを私の力で呼び出すのは、きっとこれが初めてだわ。そして今や、私にしか呼び出せない。
But yeah, this is what makes me wonder, how can Enji do it? If earlier it was established that because Rosa tore him apart, this is not possible. I mean, yeah. Yes, withdrawal syndrome. That's what I meant. Thank you. I couldn't find the words. AKA finishing reading. Pretty sure I'll get some then too. And possibly from some other characters if they end up being as precious to me as he is.
風流。
Those words might have been a bit cruel. Sakutaro's face clouded over.
かつての私はあなたを否定した。
We've quietly entered another burn drought as well. Oh, Chitarin, I'm
その
sorry.
私があなたを呼び出したということは、あなたの存在を私が認めたということ。
いいの？僕はエンジェの世界に呼び出されてもいいの？
His eyes were slightly frightened. It was only natural. I, who had played with him like a friend before, had one day suddenly denied him and tried to burn him with the anti-magic toxin. It was only natural that he was scared.
謝るわ。
The post-story effect of Umineko is strong. That's for sure, having finished just a month ago.
あの日のこと。
I guess that's why you seek out other people who are reading it to join in on their experience.
マモンにも。そして、みんなにも。
At some point, the rest of the seven sisters had gathered on the deck. Oh! No, they are there at all times. Always by my side. As long as I accept that it's okay for them to be there, they will appear anytime.
あなたたちは確かに存在するわ。ルシファーも、レビアタンも、サタンも、ベルフェゴールも、マモンも、ベルゼブブも、アスモデウスも、そして、サクタロウも。
よろしいのですか？エンジェ様はベアトリーチェ様に挑もうというお方。魔女を否定される立場にあられるお方が、我らを認めてもよろしいのですか？
私の世界にとって魔法が存在するかどうかは、悪いけど保留させてもらうわ。
Love it, love it.
私自身が魔法の存在を認めたわけじゃない。
なのに、我らを認めるという矛盾はどういうことです？
魔法は信じる人には存在するってことよ。私が信じなくても誰かが信じたならその人の世界には魔法が存在するわ。
I love that.
それは私が魔法を信じたって信じなくたって何の干渉も受けない。
Yeah, the only thing is that at the end of the epitaph you're required to believe, otherwise the entire world crumbles and everyone blames Battler. Why aren't you believing? You are denying us paradise.
いいえ、受けてはいけないのよ。その誰かは胸を張って自らの魔法を信じればいいのよ。そして私はそれを認める。だからあなたたちが存在しても全然おかしくはないのよ。
なかなかの詭弁ですが、面白い解釈かと。
That resonates so much within me. I love Andrew. Yes. I was sad when the story got back to Battler and the game board murders because I wanted more of NG of 1998. But the island part is good too. Okay. Okay. We'll enjoy this for what it is now, and then we'll see what we do about that. I'm being precautious and not saying that we'll enjoy that one when it comes, because I don't know. Oh.
エンジェ様のそれは悪魔の証明そのものでしょう。
悪魔の証明？
Oh god, this thing again. Can we just leave it at what it was? It was perfect as it was. Don't rationalize it too much, because then you're like destroying the meaning and depth out of it.
だって悪魔の存在を証明するには悪魔を連れてくればいいけれど、悪魔の存在を否定することだけは不可能だから。そして私たちはここにいる。つまりそれはエンジェ様が魔法を信じようと信じまいと私たちの存在は揺るがないということ。無流？エンジェから半魔法の毒が消えていく。本当だわ。魔法を否定する立場なのにどうして？
それは多分尊重し認めるという心を知ったからだわ。
Nice.
今の私にならマリアお姉ちゃんの、そしてベアトリーチェの魔法の深淵も理解できるかもしれない。
In the past, I insisted that I didn't believe in things like magic. that something like that couldn't exist. I acted like I had my eyes tightly shut and couldn't see anything. But now I'm different. I get the feeling I can look right at the thing called magic and close in on its true nature.
惜しいわ。
Finally, hopium, yes.
この現代にこれだけ半魔法の毒素の抜けた人間なんて本当に稀よ。魔女に向いた稀有な才能なのに。そうね。今の園児様が魔女を目指してくださったなら、ベアトリーチェ様に及ぶかもしれない大魔女に成長されたかもしれないのに。
それでも我らの存在を認めてくださった我らの主である。おそらくエンジェ様が我らの最後の主となるだろう。最後の奉公と思い尽力しようではないか。
ブー。なのに、エンジ様自身がまだ魔法を信じてくれないのが納得いかない。エンジ様、ついでに魔法も認めてくださいよ。
The youngest ones, always unsatisfied, always complaining about something.
せっかくの主なのに、魔女じゃないなんて、なんだかもったいない。
最高の魔女になれる逸材なのに、その目的が魔女を撃つことだなんて。
惜しいです。まあ、それもエンジ様の人生で、生き方で、そうと決めた世界ならば、それは私たちにとやかく口出しできることではないわけですが。
A very good point about acceptance and respecting someone else who disagrees with you.
私を理解してくれてありがとう。そうね。魔法が私にとって存在するかどうか、それは私が決めることだわ。世界のどこかに魔法が実在したとしても、しなかったとしてもね。
When I think about it, the world is so vast and yet so small. Billions of people live on the earth. But I probably won't meet even 1% of those people. Even so, I will speak of the world. Without knowing even 1% of the world, I will speak of my world.
私が知らない世界の法則を私に否定する資格なんてない。だから、私の世界に魔法が存在しないからといって、私の知らない世界に魔法が存在することまでを否定することはできない。まさに悪魔の証明というわけだわ。いえ、業に入りては業に従うというべきかしら。
Oh, I'm getting teary-eyed. I can be confident in the world I know. So even if my world is denied by a complete stranger who doesn't know a thing about it, that's nothing to worry about. And in the same way, just because I don't know another world, that doesn't make me qualified to deny it.
だから、私は自分の世界に魔法があるかないかを問わずに、マリアお姉ちゃんが教えてくれた魔法を否定することなんてできやしない。
Oh, that's so precious.
無理
I didn't cry at the abuse, I'm crying now.
だって見たことがなくても魔法は存在するんだもん。
ええ。だからすでに言っている通り、魔女同盟、マリアージュ・ソルシエルの友人であるあなたたちの存在もまた私にも、そして誰にも否定することなんてできないわけ。
And best girling all over the story, yeah. I proclaimed the most important part again. Even though the sea breeze and the crashing of the waves were noisy, it was a time of silence. Both Saktaro and the Seven Sisters of Purgatory reflected upon my words. And probably I did too. Does magic exist or not? Do witches exist or not? I reflected on the fact that while ignoring what the answer was within my world, I had declared openly that I would accept their existence despite it being a contradiction.
ありがとう、エンジェ。
At the end of it all, life itself is a contradiction, within which we're trying to make our own sense and find our direction.
そこまでお認めになったなら魔女もお認めになって。いえ、愚問でした。その問いに対する答えをすでにエンジェ様は明確にお持ちだ。
ごめんね。魔女がこの世界のどこかにいるかもしれないことを。でも、私の世界は揺るがない。
魔女も魔法も認めない六軒島の真実は必ず暴いてみせる。
Yes.
でしょ？
ええ。
Please.
それが私の世界よ。仮に本当に魔女が存在したとしても、私の世界では認めないわ。当の魔女にどれだけ言い寄られたとしてもね。
エンジェ様のお立場は魔女を撃つこと。そして、そのお気持ちにいささかの揺らぎもないこと、よくわかりました。我らはエンジェ様の家具、煉獄の七姉妹。いつでもおそばに。お役に立てる日が来るのを、いつまでもお待ち申し上げております。
エンジェ様が魔法を信じてくれない以上、話し相手くらいにしかなれないけれど、今は十分よ。
I was about to say, that's more than enough. Maybe it doesn't even need to be more than that. It's plenty.
私たちに存在できる余地を残してくださった。それだけで、私たちはエンジェ様に感謝し。
つまり、私たちは、また、みんなといられるんだね。うりゅーサク太郎もふもふさせて
As Sakutaro was overcome with emotion and tears came to his eyes, the seven sisters closed in and mobbed him. They were also celebrating a long-awaited reunion. Because they were granted permission to exist, they can exist here without doubt. No, they can exist even if I don't permit it. Because I accepted them, they showed their reunion's joy to me as well. As I watched over that scene, I reflected on the meaning of this journey of mine.
これで、みんなには許してもらえたかしら。
十分ですよ。私たちは家具。呼び出してもらえるだけで、おそばにいることを許されるだけで、嬉しいのですから。
ウリュウ、エンジェ、本当にありがとう。
そういえば、どうして私には
Ah,
サ
there
ク
it
太
is,
郎が
the
呼び出せ
question.
たのかしら。いいえ、逆ね。どうしてお姉ちゃんにはサク太郎が呼び出せなかったのかしら。
Maria Onechan had despaired, thinking that Sakutaro had died, which told me that she hadn't been able to summon him like this anymore. In the past, Onechan said it was more advantageous in a summoning to have a vessel. However, a vessel is like training wheels, and it shouldn't be absolutely necessary. I'm having a thought, but I don't know, maybe it's completely off base. But maybe it's simply because Enje wasn't that, like, Sakutaro was in a way, a piece of Rosa, of her love for Maria, but in a sense of like of her supposed love for Maria, that Maria wanted it to be real, and also at the same time a piece of Maria's heart all merged together, right? And when Rosa did that, she fundamentally broke something within Maria, and maybe Maria couldn't find it again. But for Enje, who is not that deeply connected, who is someone from the outside, but still has some sort of a relationship with this, she can? Maybe? I don't know. In other words, even if the stuffed animal lion that was Sakutaro's vessel didn't exist, it should have been possible to summon him. In fact, for that matter, it's a little doubtful whether summoned beings even have the concept of life and death. Moreover, Sakutaro was an especially important friend to Maria Onechan. She should have been able to strive hard to summon him one more time. It certainly was sad that the original stuffed animal vessel had been torn apart. But why was he dead, and why couldn't she summon him again?
それは、マリアがあの時、僕のぬいぐるみが破れたのを見て、僕が死んでしまったと決めてしまったから。
魔法の存在と同じなんです。マリア教の世界で、サク太郎が死んでしまったことになったなら、彼女の世界では、サク太郎は存在できない。
ウリュウ。
The shock of having her beloved stuffed animal torn apart had left a wound in her heart serious enough to prevent her from ever again summoning her irreplaceable close friend. In Maria One-chan's eyes, Sakutaro had died. I guess, yeah, if everything he represented was broken or killed in her mind, like... I don't know, maybe if the idea of her mother ever being, like, actually loving her and showing that love died with that scene, of course she wouldn't be able to believe in it anymore. Yeah. And if the part of her heart that was still able to cling to the possibility of her mother actually being her mother and not an evil witch possessing her, if that part also was killed or destroyed or broken to the point where she couldn't bring herself to think that anymore, of course she couldn't. Maybe. So even if Sakutaro could exist like this to me, he could not exist before her.
僕はいつもマリアと一緒にいたんだよ。泣いてるマリアのすぐ近くで、泣かないでってずっと言ってたんだよ。でも、マリアには僕の姿も声も何も届かなくて。
Sakutaro hung his head looking sad.
マリアージュ・ソルシエルはあの事件の後急に性格を変えていくの。それまでの同盟は和やかなものだった。でも事件後は憎い誰かをいかにして呪うかという物騒なものばかり。お姉ちゃんの日記はあからさまに様変わりして。
Yep, there it is. A diary is a mirror that reflects one's heart as it is. It probably showed the personality called Maria die, and be reborn as the evil witch personality, Maria. As she filled the diary with hatred and sadness, her heart surely was not fulfilled. Because she wasn't fulfilled, she had no choice but to fill it with hatred and sadness. And while still unfulfilled, she met with death. I wonder if her unfulfilled soul has a hole opened in its chest from sadness even now, and continually wanders, tears dripping down and calling Sakutaro's name. Why do this to me? I thought we were getting to the hope part.
あなたがお姉ちゃんには必要なのよ。
ウリュウ。
どうしたらあなたをマリアお姉ちゃんの世界で蘇らせられるの？その方法がわかれば、私はお姉ちゃんを救うことができる。それが私に課せられた贖罪の方法なのよ。どうすればサク太郎は蘇るの？
マリアにとって僕のよりしろは特に重要な意味を持ってたから。
よりしろ。つまりライオンのぬいぐるみを蘇らせることができれば。
でも僕のぬいぐるみはローザママの手作りだから、ローザママにしか作れない。
Even inside the diary, Maria One-chan had asked this of Beatrice and had been refused for the same reason. The magical significance of a stuffed animal being unique and handmade is very large. Then if we could make the same thing once more. But Aunt Rosa is already gone from this world. We can never make the same thing again.
同じぬいぐるみをもう一つ作ってあったとか、そういうことはないの？
彼はマリア卿の誕生日プレゼントのために作られた世界でたった一つのぬいぐるみ、手作りでたった一つのよりしろなんです。だから大きな魔力を秘めているんです。そして失われたらもう二度と手に入らない、蘇らない。ウリュウ。
Maria One-chan knew that, so when she saw the stuffed animal unique in the world be torn apart, she despaired. Because it was a stuffed animal unique in the world, and it permitted her no compromises such as simply buying another, she despaired from the bottom of her heart.
でも、サク太郎はここにいるわ。よりしろなんかなくても、ここにいる。私がそれを認めているから、私の世界では確かに存在する。マリアお姉ちゃんが認めなくても、それは否定できない。そうよね。
理屈ではそうですが、同じ理屈でマリア卿にそれを認めさせることもまた困難かと思います。マリア、僕は死んでないよ。 ここにいるのに、風流。
きっと六軒島でマリアお姉ちゃんに私は再会できると思うの。そして私は何が何でもお姉ちゃんの中のあなたを蘇らせて再会させるわ。
できるの？
難しいでしょうね。魔女同盟に誘われた私が意味を理解できず拒絶してしまったのと同じように、彼女もまたあなたの存在を拒絶するかもしれない。でもやるしかないわ。それが私にできる唯一の罪滅ぼしなのよ。
エンジ様。
六軒島で何が待つのか、そして何が起こるのか、何ができるのか、あるいは何も起こらないのかもしれないけれど、全ての始まりであるあの島こそがこの旅の終着点なのよ。私はあなたたちを連れて魔女の家具であるあなたたちの主として魔女の島へ、六軒島へ帰らなければならない。
Even though the rays of the sun had been so strong, at some point clouds had started to hang over us. The spray hitting my cheek might not all be coming from the crashing waves.
エンジェさん。
Alright, I think I kept waiting for this to end. I think this is a good moment. I don't know if she's gonna have a longer conversation with Amakusa. Maybe it's best to leave it here. It's already quite late and we're past the... It's a good stopping point. Perfect, thank you. I didn't want to cut that in half. It seemed very important, so I wanted to keep going, but I don't want to overdo it either, so... If you agree that it's a good moment, and then there we are. Wait, why can't I click these? Hello? Did I click load by mistake? No, save. I want to save. Okay, maybe I clicked load by mistake. My bad. I'm tired. Okay, so we leave with his handsome face on the screen. I approve of that message. Here we go. The next scene starts after that. Okay, that's good. We found a good moment to leave it. It's always such a guessing game when we're nearing the end of the stream. Like, do I do one more scene or not? Is it short? Is it long? Is it gonna fit? What's gonna happen? Let's sleep and dream of Sakutaro. Aww. I'm gonna give my plushies a hug after this. I think it's warranted. Yeah. Oh, I had a few more thoughts that I initially intended to leave for after stream, but actually that whole conversation about self-acceptance and that tying back into Maria and how that in a way, let's say, explained or added more layers of depth to her magic of origins, if that's what we're calling it. And then tying it to how despair took over her and why she cannot summon Sakutaro. I think there's plenty said already about it, and there's no reason for me to add on top of it. So it's good to leave it this way. But I'm pretty sure it will be explored further. So if there's anything else that you guys want to interject or ask me, I'm sure we'll have the chance to explore it with enough depth in due time. So for now, this is where we leave it. Any ideas how this whole thing might connect to the mess of episodes 1-3? You mean the insight that we gained into Maria's life, how that could have been a contributing factor to what was happening in the other episodes, or what exactly is your question? Because when you say the mess of episodes 1-3, there is just so much there. I don't know. I have to now stop and think, what would this because we've learned some things that completely change the way we should view Maria's state of mind at the family conference, because the way it was presented in the first chapters, we didn't have. Did Saktor kill everyone in episode 1? No, I don't think so. The way it was presented to us in the first episodes, it definitely had this whole back and forth kind of feel to Maria's relationship with Rosa, and Rosa constantly apologizing and then backtracking and then doing the same thing all over again. And so obviously there was a pattern there and so on, but we didn't know that something this extreme and to this extent had happened, and that Maria had something inside Maria had been broken to this absolute level where she's feeling genuine negative feelings towards her mother. So I have to completely reframe the way I perceive those things in ignorance of this fact. And so I don't know, other than the fact that it explains perfectly well Maria's connection to Beatrice and her wanting her to be real and her being so happy to be part of whatever was happening there. And it explains her writing down all of the things that happened at the conference in her diary. At least in my mind, it makes more sense why she would document that. I don't want to be too specific in my question because I don't want to influence you in that regard. That's okay. What do you mean Rosa's voice actor went off today? Ah, you mean went off in terms of screaming and going crazy, I guess, yeah. 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 I don't know, it's hard for me to elaborate on the theory with everything so far. I would also need a little bit of time to like absorb and think about it. It's hard for me to go to the point where like, oh yeah, it makes sense. Maria is now absolutely distraught and disappointed with life, and her mother, she's just gonna go on a rampage and kill everyone. I don't think that is it. That doesn't sound right. There is definitely a conflict and a fight within Maria to not let herself get taken over by despair. And sure, that can have downstream of that, there can be effects and ways in which it ties with the events of the other episodes. But I cannot put myself in the position where like, oh, she could be a culprit. It just saying that, like, it breaks my heart. Because her heart is just so beautiful. I saw nothing but beauty in Maria this whole time. And yeah, we all saw it being crushed. It's okay, Chidori. No worries. Yeah. I guess there is something to be said about them, like, how to put it. They hit very hard, and I kind of skipped through some of them at some point because it was just so overwhelming. But they were not delivered in a way that just absolutely makes your eardrums bleed, right? Their intensity is high, I agree with that. But there's a lot to praise about the craftiness of the voice actress and the choices that she made with those screams. Yeah. You're excited for the next stream? Okay. Everyone's pumped up for next stream always. It's kind of like your perpetual state of being, okay, this was cool. Next time it's going to be even cooler. And like, okay, sure. All right. But for now, I'm really going to go because it's midnight and I need to rest. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Episode 4 has pretty much no chapters that aren't crazy good. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. If everything is gonna stay in this level of quality, count me in. Even when we are back with Beatrice doing locked room murders, if there's something else of substance coming up at the same level as has been shown to us so far, I'm gonna be good. Yeah, for now it's good night time. Thank you once again. It's always such a pleasure to experience this with you. So yeah, let's keep going, and I will see you again Thursday as per usual in our schedule. Yeah, thank you so much. Take care. Good night.